There we go. I don't know what happened right there. I think I broke something, but I'm sorry for the long pause on that one. I am Raphael Esparza, aka the numbers guy, aka you can find me everywhere. Now that it's football season, you can find me over on X at BSI Sports. You can find me over on Instagram at Raphael Esparza. And this is another segment of Ask Rap sponsored by my bookie. So it should be a very fun Joe, like I said, we should probably be here like around 25, 30 minutes unless the questions keep on firing. We already got one question that came in through X that we'll get to that very shortly. But it's preseason week two. Two games today, Las Vegas and Houston, and the San Francisco 49ers and Chargers. And boy, Vegas, Houston's probably getting the most action as of right now, but it's going to be very interesting to see what the second game at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time will, stay up late to watch that preseason game. It should be a fun one, but we have two preseason games. We'll talk about those, dive in some preseason two numbers. But I know, let's get into a couple questions that came in. We have Kim. She's watching the show, training someone. You know what? Take a lunch, Kim. Watch the show. Train after the show. Take your lunch now. Why that? Or let your coworker watch the show. One of the two. She's probably got a question, but thanks, Kim, for all your support right that. And who else? Joe's in there. Welcome. Hey, thanks, Joe. Thank you for always coming in. Joe's always there. So it's dead under tonight, as Joe is saying. I kind of agree with you on that one. Let's dive into that. Last week 1, boy, unders go 12, 5 and 12 out of the 17 games. 12 of them fly under the total. And it happened on last year too. A whole bunch of unders came in on week 2 and week 3. So it's gonna be very interesting. A lot of 37s and a halves, 36s out there. There's a 41 in a Green Bay Denver game. So can the unders continue to cash? And we're gonna see that maybe today. Is maybe I see two dead unders. I like the under in Vegas, Houston. Devastated with injuries. You figure they're just going to want to run the ball and stay healthy. And we all know what that Houston's defense is going to do. We've seen it in preseason week 1. So I kind of agree with you on that one, Joe. Maybe two dead unders and dogs cashed last week too. 8-2 against the 8-2 against the spread, 13-4 throughout the whole week of week 1. But the first 10 games, like I said, 8-2 against the spread in preseason week 1, and then they finish it off of those late Saturday games at 13-4. So the underdogs are barking on week 1. Could the dogs bark again? And I have a really good stat for this one. Preseason short underdogs. Let me repeat this. Preseason short underdogs, 3 points or less that are played on Thursday night games. These are preseason games Thursday. 42-19 against the spread since 2018. 6-0 against the spread in week 2 games the last 6 years. That's both of these games tonight. Chargers are what? They're still plus 1.5, and the Texans. So it's the Texans. Well, no, the Texans were underdogs. They're not underdogs anymore. So it's just one game. I apologize. The Texans were underdogs. Now they're the favorites. So that one goes to the Chargers tonight, which I lean towards the Chargers. I mean, you can't take, was that 69, 70% since 2018, underdogs 3 points or less. That's going to be very interesting to see what happens on this one. Joe hit my Cardinals. Let's see. Joe hit my Cardinals and over teaser last week, running it back on something tonight. Wow. Hey, you cashed a ticket with the Cardinals, Joe. How rare is that? Is cashing a ticket on anything Arizona football related. So I kind of do like both dogs. I really like a lot of dogs on Friday too. Green Bay now plus 6.5. So it should be very interesting to see what the underdogs do on this one. Here's another really interesting that you want to keep an eye out for these week 2 games. Don't forget 2 games on Thursday, 3 on Friday, whole bunch on Saturday, and 1 on Sunday. That's right, a preseason week 2 game on Sunday. Preseason conference matchups with totals 37 points or more. Let me repeat that. Preseason conference matchups with totals 37 points or more. Out of 82 games, 57 of them have gone under the total. Last 3 NFL preseason seasons, 10 and 12 have got 10 out of the last 12 games have gone under. We already talked about maybe those unders cash in tonight. So we have a question in from DG. DG is supposed to be working, but I guess he's got time to fire away a question. Have you ever played fantasy football and you should join the weekday Rangers fantasy football? I have never played a fantasy sport. Never played fantasy football, fantasy baseball. I'm just not a fantasy person just because I watch games and look at games totally different, not by single players. I look at point spreads and what's the number going to be next week? What's the number going to be like in the next matchup? I just can't. I just don't want. My brain doesn't function trying to figure out fantasy points and this and that. I wish I was. I heard it's a lot of fun. My twin brother always calls me for his drafts to help him out. I think I'll be really good at that. But no, I've never played fantasy. I almost played a NASCAR fantasy sport my last year. I think it was 2016. I think it was or 2006, my one of the last years at Aria when I was the VP for the racing sportsbook. And the only reason why I wanted to do a NASCAR fantasy because I wanted to be a cool name. I don't want to say what the cool name is here because maybe some not a nice word to say, but I almost played a NASCAR. That NASCAR fantasy would have been my first fantasy. I did not end up playing it. I even had a cool logo and stuff like that, but that was the only that was I was this close of playing NASCAR fantasy, but I didn't. So no fantasy for me. I'll cheer you guys on for the weekday wager fantasies, but no, I will not be playing. Sorry, DG, on that one. Maybe teasing two unders and 7 points. You already know how I feel about teaser, especially on preseason. But you cashed last week, so you go for it. Cash again this week. So hopefully you have a very, very good week 2 preseason. There's a bunch of early baseball games, and I know if Mark is watching the game, the show, which he should be. I try to watch their shows, even though I'm not in the chat. I'm still watching, or at least delay watching. 8 Major League Baseball games have started already, and the Nerfy has not done well. The Nerfies only cashed twice, so a bunch of Yerfies today. But really interesting with the Brewers coming up winning 6 to put up 6 runs in the first. Don't forget they won 22-0 2 days ago, and then they get blown out yesterday. So I guess playing the over in the Milwaukee Brewers Seattle Mariners has been the trend to play these last 3 games. I didn't play the over. I should have just because I played a little bit over yesterday. But boy, Milwaukee, Seattle just crushing the ball. So hopefully they can continue. Hopefully the Seattle pitching staff gets worn out because the Cubs go to Seattle and play them for the weekend series. So it'd be nice to see that. But let's go back into preseason. Like I said, some of these numbers have moved, and it's because of starters. It's going to be very interesting to see what the Raiders do tonight with the number 1 QB from IU. DG's boy is supposed to be playing a little bit more today. So what's their offense going to look? How's he going to look against some of the defensive starters of Houston that's playing? We all saw what Houston's defense did last year. We saw what Houston's defense did last week. So that should be very interesting to see what rookie quarterback plays on that one. So it should be interesting. There's a quick line movement. I just saw my screen pop up. Keep an eye out for the New York Jets Miami game. And what's 2.5, got bet all the way up to 4.5, and it's starting to climb back down to 3. So we've already seen 2 points move. That's going to be very interesting to see. And keep an eye out for that Sunday game. Seattle, Tennessee. So Sunday's the 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time evening game. Total opened up at 38.5. Pretty much stayed the same at 38.5. Pending on how the totals go, the 2 games tonight, 3 on Friday, and a whole bunch on Saturday. If you think it's going to be an under week, I would grab the 38.5 right now. Because let's say the unders continue to cash. That one will close to 37, maybe even to 36.5, just because of trends we have seen. If you think it's going to be an under week, the last game of the week 2, Seattle, Tennessee. Tennessee's offense put up some points. They scored 19 points last week on the road to the 49ers, the banged up 49ers. So if you think it's going to be an under week, and it's one of the bigger totals, 38.5 at Caesars and at Hard Rock in both DraftKings and FanDuel, I say sprinkle something on that 38.5, because if it's a bad number and it drops, or you think it's going to go over, if the over is cash, you can get off that number at 38.5 during either Saturday or live bet it on Sunday. But I kind of think that's a good play. Bet the under at 38.5 the last game, because if it's an under week, even if it's Thursday and Friday games, a whole bunch of unders go on there, I think the public's going to bet all the Saturday games under and all that, and that last Sunday game under to try to get a quick cash. So I would say grab the 38.5 right now. because I don't think it probably won't be even close to that if a whole bunch of unders come in. Robbie is in the chat. Hey, Robbie, thank you for watching. MLB is a pain in the ass to bet right now. I'm ready to focus solely on NFL. See, I agree with you on that, Robbie, and I disagree on you on that one because now everyone's jonesing for football to be in here. Now this is the best time to bet baseball. This is going to be the best time to bet WNBA, the best time to bet the CFL because the sports books are not watching those. The sports books are the fans right now. They can't wait for football. That's their bread and butter. So they're not going to pay attention to moving a number on a CFL or a WNBA game. We're not going to see quick language. Put a perfect example on a WNBA. If someone bets 550 to win 500, they're going to move the number. If someone bets 550 to win 500 on a WNBA game, let's say week 0 in college football, they're probably not even going to blink an eye at that because they're too busy concentrating on college football next Saturday. And you may be able to get a good number because they forgot to move that game. So yes, I know. Oh, baseball's tough, or just take a couple of days off if baseball's been licking or kicking your butt. Take a couple of days off, take a step back, and then dive into it. Because right now it's going to be the best time to bet other sports than football because the sports books are not paying much attention to those other sports because it's football season. So it's a hit or miss, Robbie, on that one. Uh, I agree. MLB still gets no easier. It does, but I'm talking on a number wise, betting favorites or dogs or stuff like that. I think you're just getting better lines now that other sports are playing. G man, thanks for watching. Let's see. DJ wants to know any place to see who's starting in preseason games. So you know what I do for preseason games if I want to see who's starting, who's not starting, is you go to the local papers, the local websites. Yes, I know some of these other websites like sports, ESPN and Fox and all that. Yeah, people go to that. But if you really want to go dig deep in it, follow other people's social media, beat writers and stuff like that. They will put out stuff like, "Hey, so and so is playing, so and so is not playing." So I would go deep into other people's social medias, like beat writers and newspapers and stuff like that, to find out who's really because those other sites are not going to report all the offensive linemen and defense. They're just going to, running back, wide receiver, quarterback. That's what they're going to report. But if you really want to see how many defensive starters are playing or how many offensive linemen start, that's when you dig deep and go into beat writers and local newspapers from that area, and you find out who's playing. But that's a great question, DG. Joe, typically there are 3 new playoff teams per conference in the NFL. Who do you like as a new playoff team? Ooh, that's a really good question. Wow, that's a really good question. I haven't really dug deep into who's making a playoff, who's not going to win to make the playoffs. I wouldn't shock me. I mean, yeah, they made the playoffs. I was gonna say the Steelers, but they're always in a wild card. Man, that's a really good question. I would say, and I hate to say this, yeah, G-Man, that's a great question. I was going to come out of that crappy division. I was going to say either the Bucks or Saints. I think one of them two, and I'm going to say the Saints if they're healthy. The Saints have been banged up all season, all preseason, all practices, and all summer. But I'm gonna I'll stick with the D man. Beat me to the punch. The Bucks or the Saints. I think them two can be very very interesting on that one. So I'll go with those two teams, especially the Bucks. I agree. I don't know where I was watching this morning, but Baker Mayfield with a chip on the shoulder could be very very dangerous. So I'm gonna put that on there on that one. So that's a good one on there. Uh, I'm not on the Saints hype. I said if healthy, they can make the playoffs. That's a big if. They lost 2 more people yesterday. The running back depth is out is really thin. Yeah, I said if that's a big if, but I would put my stock on the Bucks more than I would do the Saints, Joe. So I would definitely put that on there. But why are you getting me in trouble? Why are you guys getting me in trouble all of a sudden? That's not fine. So for weekday wagers, the NFC Seattle. I'll put that up. Well, they put up AFC. Well, the weekday wagers put up AFC. Denver, New England, Jacksonville, Pitt, Houston, Buffalo, Chargers. I don't like Houston. They lost a big part of their offense with the wide receiver going down. It's probably ones I might maybe look differently on that one. I do like Pittsburgh. Everything else I do like on that one. So I would agree with that. And then the other weekday wagers: Seattle, Chicago, Philly, Carolina, Rams, San Francisco, Green Bay. San Francisco is another banged up team. It's going to be very iffy. And Chicago, I mean, that division, toughest division in football, it would not shock me. Oh, those are playoff teams. Yes, you are correct on that one. That is correct. Oh, yeah, 2005. I can't read. I can't read weekday wagers. Can't read. But now that you mentioned about last year, and I did, and I brought off the Chiefs. I just pulled this stat out today because someone asked me about Kansas City and what I thought about Patrick Mahomes. Are they Super Bowl bound? Since the Kansas City have the longest preseason Super Bowl odds since Patrick Year's first year. Right now, the Kansas City Chiefs anywhere 16 to 1. Some I saw 18 to 1 at certain shops. I think 18 to 1 over at my bookie. Don't forget to use my bookie. It's a great source for another line source. They took out the code up above me, but I'll tweet that out if you want to look at that. 2018, Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs were 30 to 1. That was his rookie year. They were 30 to 1. This year, they're 16 to 1. Ever since then, 6 to 1, 4 to 1, 4 to 1, 10, 6, 5, and 8 to 1. So it's kind of weird to see the Kansas City Chiefs that big of a Super Bowl underdog, 16 to 1. I don't like them at all. I like total season wins under this year. So that one should be very interesting. I thought that was a very interesting stat. And another thing I saw today that I got text earlier this afternoon: the Miami Dolphins. This is something you could still get 4.5 total season wins out there. I think the juice is anywhere between minus 140. A couple of sports books moved it to 3.5 this morning and early this afternoon, and I'm hearing copy and paste sports books. It would not shock me if we see all the sports books have the Miami Dolphins at 3.5, which would be the lowest since 2019. One of the lowest, since 1989 will be the lowest preseason number we have ever seen in that one. So wow, what a shock to see a 3.5 for the Miami Dolphins total season wins. I liked them at 4.5, and I could not find a fifth win for the Miami Dolphins. So them moving it to 3.5 tells you that they have not gotten any over money coming in. So that should be very interesting and how that goes out there. Let's see, DG, do you have a future play that could be a good middle or cash play? I'll go right back into the Kansas City Chiefs. The reason why I like them under at 10.5. What's the juice? Let me wrote these down. Right now is anywhere between the under at minus 130, minus 140. And that's because of the health of Patrick Mahomes and stuff like that. But if they can get him healthy and he plays like he can play, then that's something you might want to middle on that. Because if they win a couple of their games, which I think they should lose, if they win those games, then you can middle off that number and start looking at some over money coming in. Same thing as the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think I like, you could bet them under right now, which their number is 8.5 at minus 120. But if they win a couple of their 3 to 4 games, I think they could be tough ones, weeks 3 and week 4, and I think week 5 they can get a W out of there. Then you can hedge off that number and look at a good over money that might have plus money attached on that one. So those are the two teams I'm looking to try to get a middle, are the Chiefs and Pittsburgh Steelers. But that's a great question. I haven't middled that much on total season wins. I had a buddy of mine that's a professional gambler that he said he had a great middling NBA total season wins. So I might dive into a little bit of NBA total season wins. Getting a whole bunch of text messages right now with some line movements. That's for CFL. So I don't think anyone here bets CFL on there, but it's the Ottawa Montreal game. The number's starting to move downward. The total, it was 62.5. Now it's 61.5. So that's why my phone is ringing saying that some big action is coming in on the CFL. And I don't think anybody here in the chat is a CFL plan, but if you can grab the 62.5 at FanDuel, I would try to hurry up and grab that one because significant money is coming in. I haven't dove in and text back to say what kind of money. I don't know if it's 5 figures, 4 figures, 6 figures, stuff like that. But the number is moving. So if you could grab that 62.5 between Ottawa and Montreal at FanDuel, I think that's a good place because everyone else, my board is ringing, so everyone else is hitting that pretty hard. So that's something you can think that. Let's see. Let's go to another question. G-Man, I'm thinking the Jets will be like the Cardinals last year. Lots of over. Shout out to Gino. I could see that. Turnovers make into over games, so I can see that. I hate Pittsburgh's offense ever since AB left. I could see that they have a new offensive scheme. I want to see how they run it. I want to see how Aaron Rodgers is, so that I can see why you're going into that. I can see why you picked that on Pittsburgh. Robbie's back in there. He has got a question. I think the Raiders will have a bad record, but I think they may cover the spread more times than the last year. The coaching staff. I agree. I think the Raiders are going to be competitive. I'm not saying they're going to win games, but I think they're going to be very competitive, especially if uh, they play for the new coaches. Don't forget Tom Brady's there, and I'm hearing he's out there a lot at practices, and he's speaking to a lot of players. I think his aura might rub off, and I just think they're going to not be that bad of a team. I think their defense is going to be a little bit improved than last year. Like I said, they're not making the playoffs, but like I always tell people, I could care less about W's and L's. I care about the three other letters, ATS. So I 100% agree with you, Robbie, on that one. I think they will be able to cover some games as well. So I'm just looking at some more line movements. Still stagnant on preseason games. Keep an eye out. Oh, well, that's interesting because Fanatics just moved a Vegas Houston game to 39 for the preseason game. Now, I already told you guys I like the under. I have not played it yet, so let's see if let's see if it's a copy paste league. Let's see if we can get more 39s to pop up on this Vegas Houston game, and maybe we'll take maybe we'll hit that under at 39. I'm actually a little shocked that a 39 just popped up at Fanatics, and let me see if I can pull up if it's a significant amount of money that came in. It has not shown up yet. But wow, I'm blown away at that. It's a 39 pop up at Fanatics for tonight's Raider game. So keep an eye out. I'll keep an eye out for that for you guys. And again, if you have any more other questions, not during the show of Ask Raph, use social media. Go to my X account, bsi.sports, or my Instagram, Raphael Esparza, and put a question in there. Hey, Raphael, what do you think this game is going to end at now? If it's still 39 in the show's over, you can put me anytime. I try to answer those questions ASAP. So anytime you have any other questions without the show, please find me on social media. And I try to get to those questions ASAP. A lot of people do. I love answering questions about lines and stuff like that. I just started a new segment on social media called A Trend Is Our Cashing Friend. I'm sure you saw some of the stuff. Didn't do one today because the two trends that I was looking at were very, very early baseball games. So I did not put on in there. One yesterday with the Halos, pending on the other day on the Liberty game, pending on the number you got. That's why you always need to shop around because they're a perfect example. There was three different numbers on that Liberty game that I posted. One of them would have cashed, and one would have pushed, and one would have lost. So always, always shop around. That's why I have the MyBookie promo here at WWNY weekday. So use that for a promo code of my bookie, because use them for another source, use them for another number. Why only stick with one book when you might be laying in to a horrible, horrible number? Why would you want to bet? Trying to think, why would you want to bet at circa at tonight's Raider game at 38 when you can get 38 and a half at other books and now a 39? Always get the best number as possible. That's why I always say have multiple outs when you're looking at sports books and you're looking at sports betting. So definitely do that. Next week should be a fun one. I think I'll be on Monday's show. Me and DG got a little crossed up this week, and then next Thursday, a big show because we have college football week 0. So we'll have a lot of good stuff going on next week's show, but should be very interesting. So hopefully we can do more stuff. Rob, I saw you posted Doc Sports hit 80K. Yeah, we hit 80K subs yesterday for the other company that I work for, Doc Sports. We've been around since 1970. Haven't been the greatest at social media, but for us hitting 80K in subs, that was pretty cool. We had a really cool discount out there. So thank you, Robbie. I do a lot of free play videos over there. I try to do 2 to 3 a day if I can, because I do a lot of media Not only have I done, this is my third show, I still got three more to do today. So it's very interesting. And then it's funny how I just said shows to do today. One of the questions I got in the chat, I was going to be kind of be funny on this one and say, one of the new game, Two Truths and One Lie, was the question I got asked today on X is how come I'm not on coaching company anymore, stuff like that. I was going to do the Two Truths and One Dare and One Lie. I was going to say the lie was I challenged coach into a cage match and he declined, but it's just that they went a totally different direction on their show. I love all those guys. I still talk to all those guys. I still give them a whole bunch of stats and numbers if they want to use them. I have no hard feelings. They're crushing it over there. Peyton, Mikey, Coach, producer man, I'm sure Soupy, they're doing great stuff. It's just this. I'm not needed there. I'm not. They don't do that much gambling at all, stuff like that. So, no disrespect. And that's why I tell a lot of shows when they ask me to come on, I could care less about who's the top quarterback in the league or top five wide receivers, the best offensive line. That's not me. That's not what I want to talk about. That's not what I do for a living. So they went a totally different direction, and they're going to have great success over there. I still do a lot of stuff for their wrestling. I provide a lot of wrestling odds for them. So just because I'm not on coaching company does not mean I don't do a lot of stuff behind the scenes with them. But they're always in my mind. I'm always watching the show, and I'm always in their chat when I can, stuff like that. So it's no hard feelings. They just went a totally different direction. That's business. I've done gazillion shows where they tell me, hey, you know what? We're going a different direction. We won't need you at this time. Blah, blah, blah. That's not the first. And I can guarantee you it will not be the last. Maybe DG and these guys would say, hey, you know what, Raphael, we're going a different direction. Screw you. We don't want you on the show anymore. It's just business. I have no hard feelings at all. So it should be very interesting. But I'm going to head out of here because I got some stuff to take care of because some of these lines are still jumping around. But I want to thank for all the questions that came in. And again, keep on using the hashtag AskRef. I use this segment for other shows. I have two shows tomorrow using the AskRef, and I will answer those questions on their live shows. I try to post those on social medias and a link to the watch those shows as well. So I have one tomorrow morning at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's a South Carolina SEC football show. So I'll have another segment of Ask Raph, and if you have a question and you want to answer it on air, just use the hashtag, and I'll find that question and I'll answer it on air. But you guys are always great over here at Weekday Wagers. I have nothing but love for you guys. I have nothing but respect for all the hard work that these guys do over here at Weekday Wagers. You have a fantastic evening, and you know how I always end all my shows. Please don't bet what you don't have. Have a great Thursday. Enjoy the two games tonight. Be safe.